What's up, everybody? Gajewski here, back again with the Stochastic channel. And today we're talking some college football DFS ahead of the Thursday 2-game slate. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. We're brought to you today by Prize Picks. They have a first match deposit bonus for new users up to $100, and they are giving you 1 free month of Odd Shopper. Tons of sports over with Prize Picks. They have college football, NFL, MLBs in the postseason, NHL, and NBA are returning soon. They also have a ton of niche sports. Odd Shopper is going to help you take advantage of all of that. And we have projections for college football if that is more your flavor. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 to play. All right, 2-game slate. We'll kick things off with Sam Houston taking on Liberty. 18-point spread here, and we have a 46.5 total. Both teams played really slow. Sam Houston 117th in pace. They have a 46.5% pass rate. Liberty's 109th in pace, 35% pass rate. On the Sam Houston side, not too much to see here. Keegan Shoemaker, he returned to the starting lineup in place of Grant Gunnell, who started 2 games ago. This offense is horrible, and Shoemaker does not have any rushing upside. He is very clearly the 4th-ranked quarterback on this slate, and it's not particularly close. Only big tournaments for him. Backfield is far more interesting. Jack Rosbeck, I don't know how to say his name. Sorry, Zach. Anyway, doesn't matter. He's on crutches. Don't think he plays in this game. You had Charles Crawford miss the game as well. Change of pace back for them so far this year. That allowed John Gentry to get 30 carries and 5 targets. Monstrous workload for Gentry. If you were aware of the late news last week, that definitely helped you. And with these injuries, it doesn't look like he's going anywhere. So even with efficiency projected to be a problem, what I will say is Liberty's allowed a ton of rushing production to opposing backs and signal callers, 4.4 yards per carry. Gentry should be completely fine to play here. Otherwise, receiver also pretty banged up. Lost their top 2 pass catchers already, and most recently they lost Ife Adeyi. That means Noah Smith is now seeing a 90% route share. Last game, he had 12 targets. He just looks like he's the clear wide receiver 1 in this offense with these injuries, and I don't see that changing. 4,700 is a very good price tag on him. No real restrictions other than offensive environment. Beyond that, Malik Phillips, 63% route rate. Tight end Elijah Sohn, 83%. Jay Rockwell, 55%. Pretty bleak beyond these guys. I would probably just rank them Sohn, number 1 for price tag, 4 targets last game, followed by Phillips and Rockwell in terms of price-adjusted plays on this slate, but not much interest. Even a guy like Shane Johnson, route rate didn't jump sharply. It's at 37% on the year, and last game, Shane Johnson, he came in with a 27% route rate. I thought Alvonte Woodard would also see the same thing, but he was below 30 as well. Liberty, massive favorites here. Incredibly efficient offense. Caden Salter's the best quarterback play on the slate, and it's not close. Hyper efficient, even with very few pass attempts. But what we like is the designed running from Salter. At least 7 attempts designed in each of the last 4 games. He's hyper efficient on the ground. Nothing really else to add here. Sam Houston doesn't provide any resistance. He's the best quarterback play by a mile. Backfield, I want at least one of these guys. Quentin Cooley leads the committee over Billy Lucas. He averages 13.5 touches per game to Lucas's 10. Efficiency sides definitely with Quentin Cooley. I think either of them are in play. Cooley being cheaper is kind of laughable. So I would lock in Cooley for cash. You can play Lucas in tournaments. You can play them both. No real issues. They should dominate in the run game. Receiver is a nasty rotation. I think the best price-adjusted play is probably Elijah Smoot at 4K. He has a tie for the team lead in targets with CJ Daniels. The problem is Smoot has 106 receiving yards. Daniels has 263. So there's a little bit to be desired in terms of targets for all these guys, but he's the best price adjusted, the cheapest guy you can go to. Daniels and Treon Sibley are the top 2 guys receiving yardage-wise. Sibley leads the team with 288. That's about 72 per game. Daniels, again, coming in with 263. That's about 66 per game. They're just a little more expensive. Ultimately, I have no issues with them. There's only one receiver seeing at least 60% of the routes, and that's Noah Firth. Wasn't even targeted last game, but his route rate is better than anybody. You could get to him at 43. Bentley Hanshaw's also involved. He has a 55% route rate. He saw 6 targets. All that to say, there's just going to be ebbs and flows between these top 6 receivers, and that's before you even consider Austin Henderson's 40% route share or Aaron Bedgood's 20% route share. They use upwards of 7 receivers a game, and I think your best bets are those 5 at the top: Smoot, Daniels, Sibley, Hanshaw, Firth. Mix and match them for tournaments. Western Kentucky, Louisiana Tech, 5.5 point spread, 59.5 total. This is a far better game environment. Western Kentucky, 43rd in pace. They have a 65.5% pass rate. Louisiana Tech, they're 81st in pace with a 53.5% pass rate. I think this would be higher if it weren't for the Hank Bachmeier injury. We'll get to that. Starting on the Western Kentucky side, Austin Reed, I think, is the second best price-adjusted play behind Salter. He just doesn't run a lot, 67 rushing yards. At least he's not taking sacks, but he needs a 300-yard bonus. He's live to do that at any time. 42.5 attempts per game, 275 yards through the air. Also, he will face better matchups in the future. For what it's worth, he hasn't been as efficient, so it's tough with Reed. I think efficiency will come. He's had a lot of injuries to the pass catchers. The backfield is a 4-way committee: Stepp, Young, Irving Poindexter, LT Sanders. Nothing separates them. LT Sanders has the slightly improved role. I think he leads this group, but no, I don't have a read on how this works out. Sanders also has the worst pass catching role, so it's tough to get to any of them. They're just tournament mix and matches. The best one for me would be Stepp. He missed a game. He still leads the team with 8.3 touches overall. Receiver, play Malachi Corley. He should be 100% owned. Moving on. Beyond Malachi Corley, that's where things get a little interesting for Western Kentucky. We saw a lot of guys return last week, including Dalvin Smith, and I think some of them are worth playing. Dalvin Smith immediately came into the fold with a 52% route share. Musa Berry was actually second on the team with 56%. That only trailed Malachi Corley. So that's at least worth noting. You look at these guys, Musa Berry, he's 3,300, and Dalvin Smith 53. So you could play Berry as a punt option. Beyond that, we had Easton Messer, 39%, Craig Burt, 43%, Katie Hutchinson, 46%, and Jimmy Holiday, 54%. They're going to rotate guys, so I prefer to play this based on price. You can punt with Berry, Holiday, Katie Hutchinson, Craig Burt. I think they're all fine punt plays here. I'll be trying to play a little bit of them all. But really what this comes down to is play Malachi Corley and figure the rest out depending on how much salary you have left. I think Louisiana Tech gets Bachmeier back today. I kind of thought they'd get him back last week, but he's now practicing in full, at least according to beat reporters. Should give him a pretty good chance. I actually like what Turner gave them in his stead. It's really hard to evaluate the stats. I think Bachmeier probably offers a little more as a passer, but he takes sacks, whereas Turner doesn't take quite as many sacks. He has a little more mobility. But the offense, I thought it was going to be pass heavier than 53.5%. Likely with Bachmeier back, it improves and they do increase their pass rate. And I think that makes them live for some 300-yard bonuses. Western Kentucky's defense definitely doesn't scare you. They're allowing 8 yards per pass attempt. So in the context of this slate, he'd be my third favorite quarterback. And if he's out, Jack Turner would still be my third favorite over the Sam Houston guys. Backfield's a mess. Keith Willis projects to be out for a while. Jarvis Thornton's missed their last 2 games. Jacob Fields didn't play in their last game. That let Tyree Shelton lead a committee with 16 carries, 1 target. Keldrick Moody was second, 7 carries. And then they actually returned Marquise Crosby finally, 1 carry for him. Marquise Crosby had 918 rushing yards last year. He led the team. I'm curious to see how this expands. I don't know. I was really surprised they brought him back for just 1 carry. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, unless they fully think like Shelton and Moody have beaten him out. Maybe they do believe that, but the usage just didn't make a lot of sense. If he gets 1 carry, just hold him out or bring him back for something larger than that. Anyway, he's a good tournament play based on the priors we have on Crosby. Otherwise, Shelton projects to lead this backfield. It's a late news situation. You'll have to watch Thornton. I don't think Willis plays, but watch him too. Just stuff worth mentioning. Receiving game, Smoke Harris and Cyrus Allen are about the same price adjusted play. Everything you're giving up volume-wise with Allen, you're making up for in salary because Smoke Harris is $800 more. But the efficiency for both guys has been awesome. Cyrus Allen actually averages more yards per game than Smoke Harris. So I think you could just make the argument, play Corley, play Allen, and then make the rest of your lineup from there. Smoke Harris, very good play here too. Kyle Maxwell and Kobe Doru have been missing time for this team, so that's allowed True Edwards to play almost a full-time wide receiver 3 position. His route rate rose. He'd been hovering around 50% in recent games, but it was up above 70 in their last game, 73% to be exact. So True Edwards should be in play as a punt option. And then tight end, it's been a bit of a rotation here. Nate Jones, his route rate dropped. It went from 70% to 39 to 27. And Ryan Rivera has taken on most of that, but instead of him playing a full row, his route rate jumped to 26% to 52, back down to 46. So it's kind of just a split between the two of these guys. Not much to see here. Last thing, DeColdis Crawford, that 54% route rate we saw 2 weeks ago, back down to around 25. The former 4-star Nebraska transfer just cannot find his way on the field. You hate to see it. That'll do it for us today. Let me know in the comment section if I missed anything or there's something you would like to say. Would love to hear. Reach out on Twitter if you'd like to, @Matt_Gajewski. Otherwise, we'll be back tomorrow for the Friday slate as well as the main slate. Until then, good luck, everybody, and we will see you soon.